Beijing wants to teach a lesson to U.S. officials who have filed lawsuits against China. It is following the tit-for-tat policy. The Chinese regime is threatening counter lawsuits against U.S. officials. And guess what? China has the open support of Russia this time. But on what basis are these two countries, China and Russia, planning to go after America? This report tells you.
Anger against its recklessness.
It comes from China.
Questions over its secrecy.
China could have spared the world a descent into global economic malaise. They had a choice. But instead, China covered up the outbreak in Wuhan.
And a demand for retribution.
It would seem entirely reasonable and sensible that the world would want to have an independent assessment of how this all occurred so we can learn the lessons and prevent it from happening again.
From America to Europe, from Australia to Africa, from citizens to governments, the calls to make China pay are growing by the day. Now, the Chinese regime is planning to strike back, along with its abettor right next door, Russia. Beijing and Moscow are threatening counter lawsuits against those asking too many questions of China. According to Beijing's official mouthpiece, the Global Times, China and Russia will start by initiating an investigation into US-owned biolabs. China wants the Trump administration to come clean on the existence of biolabs on US soil. Russia wants the US to clarify on the presence of overseas biolabs along its borders. Moscow is concerned about US labs functioning in Ukraine, Kazakhstan and Georgia. It says that the US government could be hiding bioweapons in these countries, a claim which now has the support of the Chinese Foreign Ministry.
美国不是要公开透明吗？不是要调查吗？
We support the WHO in carrying out relevant work in accordance with the international health regulations. I wonder if the US government can open the biological base at Fort Detrick and its biological labs in the US and other parts of the world, including those in Ukraine and Kazakhstan, to the international probe. Will it open itself to WHO investigation on the origin of COVID-19 outbreak and the US response? We all have such doubts.
So here's what China plans on doing with Russia by its side. It is considering punitive countermeasures against anybody who files a lawsuit against China in the United States. At least 4 US Congress members, including Josh Hawley and Tom Cotton, will be put on China's sanctions list. Other Republicans who too have been questioning China will face severe consequences. Businesses and trade with Republican states accusing China will be cut off. US companies with long-term investments in China will feel the pinch. China is calling this a response to America's abuse of litigation. A response which could have a direct impact on the US presidential polls. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.